I have here a picture in front of me of the eye, and we're going to go through the structure and function of all the parts in the eye. I'm going to be starting left to right. So here in this outermost layer, this is our cornea. Our cornea is what covers our iris and our pupil. It's what mainly covers our eye. I like to think of it as CO or cover. And because it's the outer layer, it actually prevents bacteria or injuries or just ultraviolet radiation from going in. And it's what refracts light that enters the eye. So, what the cornea will do is that it actually will make the light focus onto the lens. Here's our lens. It makes the light focus on that. Sometimes you'll see the picture like this, or like the light will go like this, but it's going to focus on the lens. Its job is to make the light go from cornea to the lens. Our lens is what activates the eye to focus on closer objects. It is the part of our eye that makes our retina see. So it what controls and points the light to our retina. So that's how the light would be. You see how the light goes to your cornea and then to the lens and then to the retina. This is the retina, this yellow part. Our retina is the layer of photoreceptor cells and glial cells. It is what helps us for visual processing. It captures the light from our lens, which originate from the cornea, and it transmits those light into our neural pathways as both electrical and chemical signals so that our brain can go ahead and perceive the whole visual picture. So we've discussed what the cornea does, how the light enters there to the cornea. It focuses the light onto the lens, and then the lens is what focuses the light onto the retina, the yellow part here. But how about the parts that controls all this? Because not everything can just go in, right? So we have also our iris. Our iris is that colored part of our eye. It's what makes the color of our eye blue or green or brown or very, very dark brown. You would think that it's something that you could see as a color, but actually here, as you can tell, the iris is actually made of smooth muscle, right? It's over here. It controls the amount of light that enters the eye by adjusting the size of the pupil. So the iris can get longer basically, or it can decrease in size, and when it does, the pupil gets bigger. So when there's a lot of light, if something is so bright, you'll see their iris will make our pupil get smaller because it doesn't want too much light going in. Then it's just gonna blind us, right? But if there's not enough light, if it's very dark, the pupil will actually get a lot bigger. The pupil is right in the center of our iris. It allows the light to enter the eye so that it can be focused on the retina as well. So we've discussed cornea, right? The cornea, the lens. We've discussed the lens, retina. You know that iris is what adjusts the size of the pupil, which is in the center of our iris. Next, we're gonna go ahead and talk about these surroundings. So we have here the conjunctiva, and it's the stratified squamous epithelium. It's what keeps our eyes moist and clear. It provides lubrication by secreting mucus and tears. This is where our tears come out. This is where all those eye boogers come from. And then we have here on the right side, we're looking on the right side, we have something called the choroid. The choroid, as you can see, it's like this bright red. It's because it's made up of blood vessels that gives our eye nutrients and oxygen. It contains melanocytes that produce melanin so we could absorb any excess light, and it helps regulate the retina's temperature and intraocular pressure. We have here the macula. This is the macula. It's it's right here, and the macula contains a high concentration of the photoreceptor cells. We have two types of photoreceptor cells in our eyes. So two types of receptors that is detecting the light that we're receiving. They're called rods and cones. So these rods and cones detect light and they send signals to the brain so our brain can go ahead and interpret the image that's responsible for central vision, color vision, and fine details. We'll go into more depth about rods and cones and their differences. We have here the sclera. It's this part, this light blue part. This is made up of collagen and elastic fibers. This is what protects the eye from injury. It maintains the shape, that circular shape of our eye, that ball-like shape. However, that fluid that's inside our eye, the thick gel-like fluid, it's called the vitreous body. It presses against the inside of our eyeball and it helps our eyeball keep its shape. So I like to think about the sclera as basically like a holder, like a vase of our eye. We have here in front, here is our anterior chamber. This contains the aqueous humor, blood vessels, ciliary bodies in there, and trabecular meshwork. We'll discuss about that more later. It helps in the controlling of how much light enters the eye. But I like to think mainly of the cornea, the lens, the pupil, iris more as the ones that the MCAT will be asking about. But it helps in it, but it's not the main guy with that. We have here the ciliary body. This is the ciliary muscle. It changes the shape of the lens when the eye focuses on a near object and produces the fluid in the eye called the aqueous humor. So that fluid in our eye, the aqueous humor, is produced by the ciliary body. When something is near or far, the size of our lens, the shape of our lens will change, and that's all because of our ciliary body muscle. Here we have our optic disc, and as you can see here, the optic disc is what transfers the signals from the photoreceptors of the eye, right, because they're in the macula, and they transfer it in to the optic nerve. This part is the optic nerve, and that is what transmit these visual messages that the eye is getting to the brain to help us see. I'll be discussing more about cones and rods and actually be using Squid Games as a mnemonic. So go ahead and watch that video.